Hey, Sandon.
How are you, mate? What's going on, Freddie?
I was cruising, mate. You've had a couple of days to reflect on the Anzac Day game against the Dragons. How do you feel?
Yeah, it was obviously a very special day. It was my first Anzac Day game, and the whole week, the build up, the day, such an honour and such a special day, and then obviously to get a great win was the bonus.
What about going through, sitting there watching the ceremony and then being able to switch onto the game? What was that like?
Yeah, it's definitely a different feeling, but we've got some good leaders and obviously Robbo and stuff that have been through it for a long time and sort of spoke about us just to, take it in and be present in the moment. And yeah, I was sort of just soaking it all up, to be honest. It was a perfect sunny day and looking up in the crowd, and I was just trying to soak it in.
Now, you had an incredible game. Is there a reason? Do you feel like, was there anything different? Did you feel any different before the game?
Um, I'm not sure, Freddie. I'm not sure, mate. I just sort of, I spoke a bit about it after the game, but the whole team, Robbo, the coaching staff, everyone continually is, instilling that belief in me and telling me to back myself and yeah, just got to keep believing and I felt confident and calm throughout the whole game, which was good.
Now, one thing that looked really obvious in the game was, just your level of skill around, especially around the middle of the field. You come from a touch footy background. At what stage did you start playing touch footy?
Yeah, I think I started playing touch before I actually played rugby league. I didn't sort of come over to rugby league till I was about 11 or so, but ever since my mum and dad are mad touchos, they've always played and still do. So they got me in there pretty early, and yeah, I played touch all the way up till I was about 16 or 17, where I had to stop because footy started getting a bit more serious.
What are the skills you learned from touch footy that help you playing in the NRL?
Yeah, I think vision's probably the main one. Just being able to, because it's such a quick game and there's always a lot of space and overlaps and stuff. So just being able to see that and sort of pick the right option, pick the right pass, and then obviously the footwork and speed around the ruck is a big one as well.
What about training? Like, I've obviously played rugby league. What about touch football training? What are the advantages of sort of going through a process of being part of a team and a trained touch footy team? What do you learn out of the training of touch footy?
Yeah, just a lot of like the fundamentals and stuff. I think like catch pass, things like draw and pass, three on two work. A lot of the fundamental stuff that I feel like I got from a young age, which helped me early on when I was younger playing rugby league, that some other kids might not have had when we were younger. I sort of got a lot of those fundamental early catch, pass, and spiral both sides, just the little fundamental things like that. I was sort of able to come into rugby league early and use to my advantage pretty early on.
You talk about a 2-on-1. You had a situation where you went through the line and you got Clint Gutherson in front of you, and you got the option. I think it was Teddy inside you.
No,
Who was
there was
inside you?
Zach Docker Clay because
Zach Docker Clay.
he blew
Now,
up at me because he wanted a bit of meat.
what's going through your mind once you get through the first line of defence?
Yeah, just sort of watching Gutho, to be honest, watching him and seeing what his movements are and sort of try and take him away from my sport runner. But sort of by the time I looked up, he was sort of hedging his bets a little bit. So I yeah decided to hold that one. But there was one later in the game which I threw back into Teddy, which wasn't so good. So he got me on that one.
What about the one thing I noticed with touch footy players is their ability to go from holding the ball in one hand to two hand. Where does that play a role playing in the NRL? Just the way you're carrying the ball.
Yeah, I think, in touch, there's some very skillful guys out there. So just there's a lot of, double pumping the ball, showing the ball and sweep people coming under and people running different angles and stuff. So I think just, the deception of showing the ball around and not showing the defence what sort of you're thinking is a big one.
Now, we've got the Olympics coming up in Brisbane in 2032, and I know touch football have put their hand up to be one of the sports. Do you think that's a possibility, and do you agree with it? Seeing it on a bigger stage.
Yeah, I think it'd be awesome. It's I still sort of keep up with it and watch maybe the touch here and there. It's such an entertaining sport. I love watching it. They're so skillful. Some of the dudes that play over there. It's really cool to watch. So I think if they can get that over the line, that'd be awesome for the game and touch and NRL as well.
Now, you've represented Australia playing touch. I've got some footage of you playing against the Kiwis. What's that like?
Yeah, that was sort of my first sort of taste of playing for fighting for your country. So that was awesome, mate. We had a real good. Well, I think it was just the Trans Tasman that year, and yeah, we were able to get the win in that. So no, that was a real good experience.
Now, did you come through watching the likes of Benji and Sean Johnson?
Yeah, for sure. I remember when I was younger, like I said before, Mum and Dad were always up at Port Macquarie playing the State Cup, and I think Benji would always be there around the touch ground. I think he was playing as well. So him and Scotty Prince used to be around a bit too. There was a few older dudes that yeah, I'd definitely be watching. Benji was obviously cool to watch.
There's a lot of scrutiny around sort of little blokes playing footy at the moment. Would you suggest, or what advice would you give to kids coming through playing league?
Yeah, I definitely think, like I said, to get those basic fundamentals and that you can really utilise in the game of rugby league, that touch is such a good option to go there early, and it doesn't have the physical side of it, which is always helps a bit. But yeah, no, for sure, I'd recommend it to anyone.
Good on you, mate. Love watching you play. You were fantastic in the Anzac game, and good luck next week up in Magic Ground.
Thanks, mate. Cheers, Freddie.